So the story of that is so epic and so all-encompassing. Like it
just seems like it's going to continue forever.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be an ending. At some point, there's got to. Sasuke's going to go back and try and do, bad things to everyone, I would imagine, at some point.
Of course, he's emo.
He is, but he also found out some really important things from Madara Uchiha, which we just recorded yesterday, which is fabulous. And it's like, it's in terms of the scope of the story, it's huge, and it's tragic and wonderful and silly, and they're gonna have to end it eventually. I mean, they're up to chapter, 496, I think I read this morning. Yeah. So, getting in there with Killer Bee.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we recorded Killer Bee this week too, which was great.
Let me guess, Killer Bee sounds like a black rapper?
Yes.
It's going to sound epic.
It is going to sound epic. And we got a fabulous actor to do it, so it should be really fun. Because what I love about him is that he thinks he's a great rapper. So we played him like he thinks he's a great rapper.
Is his brother going to sound similar?
The Raikage, is that...
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't, we're not there yet. He's not, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Does the Raikage rap as well? Or is No.
He's a dead serious
personality character to me. If you guys know Bo, he played Jet in Spike. I think the Raikage Bo would be great.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. So, Bo, you're cast. So, okay.
Personality, when I was reading about him, kind of reminds me of like Mr. T in the A-Team.
Absolutely. What, Raikage or...
Raikage.
Yeah. They both have a little bit of, fool, you fool. There's a lot of that.
Well, considering he made his own door through a wall just to go to a place.
Yeah, that's a perfect typecast, Mr. T.
Yes. We'll see what we can do. Make no promises.
If you can, it would just be awesome. Mr. T would fit the Raikage perfectly.
I think so too. I'm really looking forward to the A-Team movie that's coming out. I think that's going to be really fun. It should be fun.
I'm sorry, that was
the weirdest thing you've ever had to do for your job?
The weirdest thing I've ever had to do. A guy came in for the Cowboy Bebop movie wearing leather from head to toe. Now, if you know anything about microphones, and if you've ever sat on a leather couch in the winter, you know it sounds like... So, telling him to basically disrobe in the middle of a session was very interesting. Again, because it's like, it's the age of litigation, so you can't, and it had nothing to do with taking clothes off, but it was... I'm sorry, we can hear everything. We can hear you breathing in that. And why would you ever wear leather to a recording session? So he looked great, don't get me wrong, but
it just wasn't the right thing to wear for a recording session.
It wasn't the right thing to wear. Another weird thing is I directed the Afro Samurai game, and there's a little girl in there, and she had to sing in Japanese, and obviously she didn't speak Japanese. And I never really worked with kids before, younger than this lovely lady right here. So to go in and sit in the studio with her right across from her with a microphone in between, and I would sing to her and then she'd sing it back, and we just did it line by line by line. That was really cool. That was a lot of fun. And then directing Sam Jackson was just a whole other experience.
Yeah.
Wow.
Samuel L. Jackson was just a perfect typecast for that.
He's a genius, and he came in and did 450 loops in 2 hours, and it was just to sit there and watch and just try and not get in his way. It was really amazing, but give him a lot of grief as much as possible, Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, how come there's not more animes like Bastard out there? Instead of medieval times kind of thing, futuristic. I just think that's really a shame,
Like medieval time themed anime?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure that it this all comes out of Japan, and I'm not sure that they have a grasp of, that's sort of a part, it's barely a part of our culture. It's really sort of a part of England and
Europe.
So in Europe, right. So we need to get the folks in Europe and stuff to do more. Like when I was a kid, the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon that was on, I think they only did like 2 seasons worth. I loved that. I absolutely loved that. And I think if you took Naruto and put it in medieval times, I think it would work. I kind of see it as is
They don't have much
Harry Potter
technology.
in ninja school, you know? I mean, they're all of these, because it's kind of like chakra, it's sort of magical, there's no explanation for it really, you know? So, I mean, it is sort of, it's also the Force, right? You've got the Force, and then you this thing that binds us all together and everything, but conceivably, if you put it in with Morgana and King Arthur, you know, and Merlin, there's a great sense of magic then, and I think if someone was smart, they would make their own with this archetype. It's a standard Joseph Campbell archetype story arc that we're doing on this show, that they did in Star Wars, that they sort of, you know, what it is to be a human being. So, and it is King Arthur as well, so I think maybe that's something you should work on. And I look forward to directing it.
Yeah, a medieval anime would work perfect because of how few they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's either medieval or futuristic.
Excuse me.
I mean, it's it's feudal or futuristic right now.
But it's also historical. I mean, for them, even though Naruto doesn't take place in any specific place, there was no Land of Fire, Hidden Leaf Village.
It seems like it would be set in the feudal age.
But it's, exactly, so it's set in the feudal ages of Japan. But, you know, you could do something like set in the feudal ages of England or of Europe, and you could definitely do it then. I think it would translate really well. And it would be sort of a medieval Harry Potter, as it were, you know? How much fun would that be? You could have the same amount of characters. Everybody's got their own, you know, their own specific powers that they could do. I think it would be really cool. And the villains would be fantastic. You know, as long as Russell Crowe doesn't play it. What? I didn't say that. I love Russell Crowe. I haven't seen Robin Hood. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Through his wand.
No, I wanted to be a doctor or a psychologist, I think, because I have a twin sister, and I'm always fascinated with. Look, we have this really weird connection that, like, we had our own language when we were kids. We still have psychic connections all the time. So I was really sort of interested in the brain and how all memory is held chemically, which is how I think Smokey knew all of John Locke's stuff going on. I'm going to continue to go back to Lost for everybody who doesn't care. Sorry. So I was taking a psychology class in college, and I've been a musician my whole life. I was playing the bassoon at the time, and but because I had a twin in high school, they never cast us in the plays. Because you can't just take one of you, that's not fair, you know, for a lead or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'll play in the orchestra, that's cool. And then in college, freshman year, I was looking for the computer lab. We had those back then. Yeah, old. And I stumbled onto a Hamlet audition and said, why not? And got Ophelia, and that was it. And I was like, wow, I finally get a chance to do this now. And then I did 3 years of that. I studied a year in London with some teachers from RADA and Central and Lambda, these great acting schools in London, and then came back and went to graduate school in Texas at SMU, and I knew at the end, everyone said, it was sort of senior year, and the head of the department was saying, so, what do you all want to do? And everyone's like, I want to be on Broadway, you know, I want to teach at Yale, and I thought, I want to be on Star Trek, you know. That was it for me. I knew once I got into this, I really knew what I wanted to do, and I got my wish. I got to be a man trapped in a woman trapped in a man.
One of my favorite Voyager episodes, too.
Thank you, I still have the ears.
Awesome. Should have brought them.
I should have. I saw some fake Spock ears in there, and I'm like, dang, I should have brought mine. They're in a Ziploc somewhere. I don't know where they are. But then the episode of Xena, I got hurt and dislocated my kneecap, so then a friend of mine recommended me to voice acting. So I started doing that, and then about a year and a half later, they had too many shows, and they said, do you want to direct a show called Cowboy Bebop? So that was it. And the minute that started, I was like, I'm done with on camera, I'm done. I'll still do voiceover if I can, but I love this, I think. So even though it was sort of I had no idea that taking Ophelia would lead to this, it was all meant to be. So it's just like, I don't know, you get opportunities in life and you're so focused, I want to be this, I want to be this, I want to be this. And that's cool, that's awesome. You should definitely have focus and dreams. But along the way, like, the universe is going to give you options. Just like, oh, are you sure? What about this? You might like this, you know, which sometimes it's really fun to take. And you take those options and it leads you, I was sort of stalled in my on-camera career. And the minute I started directing, it was like being shot out of a cannon. It was just like, wow, this is what I should be doing, and I've never really stopped working since.